Hello, this is your good buddy, Reverend Bill again. And today, I think it's probably been just about a week since the election. And surprisingly, there are still a lot of unknowns with the House of Representatives, but it does look like the Republicans are going to get that. I think they need five more seats to get a majority. And the Democrats need something like, I don't know, 15. So I think they got to run the table on all the remaining delegates to actually get the House. So it doesn't look real good for them. So that's interesting anyway. I would like to actually cover today my surprise at the surprise that Democrats have, how they lost the election. I'd like to play this video for couple of minutes. I think it's just about 2 minutes, and then we can discuss it. It shouldn't be too long, but I think it actually sums up pretty much what I'm confused about. Let's see.
Why? Do you really hate me that bad?
We have literally lost the plot. We have lost the plot.
I just woke back up. What the is going on? America, y'all dead ass. Dead ass. Come on, bro. Damn. What are we about to do?
Votes at this time. That means he needs 23 more. Pennsylvania has 19 electoral votes. Michigan.
I've been crying in my room for the past hour. For the past fucking hour. And people saying, oh, but New York is blue, New York is blue. I don't give a f*** New York is blue. Like, the fact that this man is a president now.
Breaking me and my parents apart because they just don't get it, and they don't get that they voted for someone who's gonna make my friends' lives hell. My life's okay. I'm a white woman, but my friends are not gonna be okay.
Which means that somehow he has once again officially won the presidency. I see the hate that this world harbors towards women, towards LGBTQ+, towards people of color, towards everyone who is not this mold. Today, this country has proven to us that they hate women, people of color, LGBTQ+ members, everyone else more than they hate a literal felon who has committed schmexual. That is how much hatred they harbor for women. And I fear that things are not going to get better. This is not moving in the direction of things becoming better. They have won the presidency, they have won the Senate, and they will probably be winning the House. The GOP will have full control to pass and do whatever they want without being stopped. And we have seen what that means. We have seen their playbooks and their projects and their plans. I genuinely do believe that we are about to witness the downfall of an entire country.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's see. The shock shouldn't really be all that bad. It's been pretty obvious the last few elections, especially 2016 and this one, that the polls lie a great deal. That's why when they were calling this razor thin, I was talking to other people that were Trump supporters, and I said, just don't believe them. I mean, it's to me, the writing was on the wall. People were unhappy. People were poor. Inflation was going nuts. There was nothing. Immigration was out of control. I saw nothing in this cabinet or the administration that would make me think otherwise than people had no confidence at all. We were watching Biden going around, falling everywhere and getting lost. It was just a mess. and he will go down, I think, as the absolute worst president, just for the fact that he was senile. So the polls lie. The only polls that I trust, I forget the name of it now, but they had Trump up by a good margin. Rasmussen, I think it was what it was called. But yeah, they had him ahead, and that one I kind of believed. Although I don't think they had him ahead by enough. But it was not razor thin. I think at no time was this razor thin. And Joe Biden, for a number of reasons, will go down as the worst president that we ever had. And it may not be because his policies were bad, which they were. I think it's more to do with the fact that he was just out of it and vacant. It started with the fact that I think the August after he took over, was it August? I think it was around then. I don't remember the exact time. I think it was August 2021 when we got out of Afghanistan. And he just made all the soldiers drop all their weapons and everything and just ran like hell. That might be an oversimplification, but that's pretty much what he did. I mean, was not organized. Trump gave him a plan, which he was working on, to get an orderly exit by May. And because it was Trump, they just threw it in the garbage can. And that's kind of crazy because you shouldn't consider the messenger. You got to listen to the message. And the message would have had a very orderly exit. But Biden said no, he couldn't possibly find any wisdom or I don't know, virtue, whatever you want to call it. He couldn't allow Trump to actually have a say in it. So he decided that he would just do his thing, which is drop your weapons and run like hell. And he left, was it $80 billion worth? It was 80, I think it might have been 80 billion. It might have been 80 million, I heard. I don't know. Both numbers are staggering. But they left them there, and the Taliban grabbed them and used them to kill Americans and kill whoever they want. They owned them. Very, very valuable military equipment. Let me tell you a story that I know firsthand from a friend of mine that was in the military a few years ago. He was in some kind of a conflict, Desert Storm maybe, goes back quite a few years. And he was telling me that he was, they were on some kind of a mission, and they were supposed to meet somewhere afterwards, and they met, and it was successful. They're about to leave, and he said, you guys got everything? And one of them said that he left, I think it was binoculars, something pretty innocuous. He left his binoculars behind. And the CEO said, oh, go get them. We'll wait here. And they had to go behind enemy lines because you do not leave anything to give comfort to the enemies. So he was ready to risk the whole platoon just so they could get a pair of binoculars back, because they couldn't stand leaving that for the enemy. That was the way things were, and apparently now they've changed. It's give an enemy whatever they want, just get the hell out of there. Wow. Anyway, as far as like the shock, I'm not quite sure what shocks them. When Harris got nominated without one single primary, so not one single vote, she got as many primary votes as I did, which is none. And she got the nomination, and she went into hiding. 3 months, I believe. No one saw anything from her. It was all kind of like, hide and seek, I guess. And no one had any clue where she was. And then she did come out after about 3.5 months, with about 2 to 3 weeks left. And she just talked gobbledygook. She went on such hard-hitting shows as Call Her Daddy, which I've mentioned before. Is just young, attractive, 20-something woman talking about her sexual escapades. Not exactly hard-hitting journalism by any stretch of the imagination. And I actually heard she was given the questions ahead of time, and still Harris was just talking about who knows what. The passage of time, and let's move forward, unburdened by the things of the past, which I don't know, that was one of her favorite sayings, something like that anyway. The passage of time, I mean, yes, we're very clear. We live in a linear timeline. Thank you for that. Anyway, she also went on The View, and they threw her some softball questions. As you would expect, The View, who had Whoopi Goldberg ask why Jill Biden wasn't the Surgeon General, because she's a really good doctor. And then someone had to explain to her she wasn't a medical doctor. She was a doctor of, I don't know, English or psychology or something. I forget what she's a doctor of, but she's not a medical doctor. So way to check your sources there, Whoopi. Way to go. Let's see. And of course, great move picking a vice president who is a self-proclaimed knucklehead. That's, to me, he didn't just say it once, but he followed it up with saying it again on, I think it was like 60 Minutes or some show like that. They're like, you called yourself a knucklehead. Oh, yeah, I am a knucklehead. Just what everyone wants to be, one bullet away from the presidency, a knucklehead. I don't know. It's kind of funny. When I started dating, I do a lot of self-deprecating humor. To me, if something's funny, it's funny. And I was with somebody, and I was talking to this beautiful girl, and I forget what I said, but it was a little self-deprecating. And she said, no, you shouldn't say that with a woman. I mean, you always gotta be confident. And I said, I'm very confident. I was just making a joke. And she goes, yeah, but don't make that kind of joke in front of a woman. I thought about it. It's right. I mean, just because it's funny doesn't mean I should go in for the laugh, especially when it comes to dating. And I think the same thing can be said here. I'm sure it was just self-deprecating humor. He doesn't really think he's a knucklehead, but he's a knucklehead for saying that he's a knucklehead, as far as I'm concerned. I was only about 14 or 15 when I learned that, and this guy's, I don't know, probably close to 60. He should have learned by now that some situations you do not use self-deprecating humor. And one is when you're going for the vice presidency of debatably the strongest country in the world. You leave that stuff at the door. Now, I've been saying that she should have gone for Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, for the fact that Pennsylvania is a swing state. And Josh Shapiro is a very sharp guy. And he's also Jewish. And there's a lot of feelings that Kamala is an anti-Semitic. And I think she could have made a statement had she gotten Josh Shapiro as her running mate. But she didn't. And someone recently asked Josh Shapiro about it, and he said, I would not have taken that. I would have refused it. They said, well, why? And he goes, that dog don't hunt. He had no faith. He's like, that dog don't hunt. I'm sure he's waiting for somebody to ask him who he respects. And obviously he did not want to be part of the ticket. So be that as it may. But the truth is, there's no reason, and she could not separate herself from Biden. She tried. And then when she was on, I think it was The View. And while she was trying to separate herself from Biden, she was asked, what would you do differently in the last 4 years? And God, there were so many things to pick from. It's like sticking a child in a candy shop and saying, pick some candy. And she said, I can think of nothing. Well, she could think of nothing she would have done differently. And this country has been a laughing stock for the last 4 years, an embarrassment. Well, how is that separating herself from Biden? This woman does not think things through. There could have been a lot of things she said. She could have said, I would have tightened up the border. I would have, you know, anything, anything. Tightened up the border. I would have, cut taxes. I would have uh, worked on inflation more, paid more attention to that. There were so many things because this country is such a rough shape. Even the exit from Afghanistan, I would have done that in a more orderly fashion. Yet she said she could think nothing off the top of her head. And by the way, that's a question that your handlers should have given you in the practice session before you go for the interview. Um, a good team will sit you down and will think of questions and fire them at you, so you're well seasoned walking in to these interviews. So that means she didn't prepare, which I heard behind the scenes. She doesn't prepare. That she thinks she knows everything. So she ends up getting burnt with a softball question. Um, I don't know. Gas prices are out of control. She could have said something about that, inflation, food costs, all this kind of stuff. She could have said it was embarrassing, the fact that Biden was walking into, uh, press conferences, asking for dead people, especially when he he was at their funeral, um, and eulogized, I think, one or two of them, and he just forgot that they were dead and was asking for them. You know, there was a lot of things you could have said. Anyway, and another thing too, when people started criticizing her for cackling like a hen, why didn't she stop? I think honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot. I think it's a ploy. I think she does it to buy herself time to think. Doesn't buy her enough time to think though, because she really doesn't have much of an answer when she does say something. But I do know that a lot of times, uh, actors, especially, they'll have something that they do to just buy him half a second. For those of you who remember Charles Nelson Riley, when he did Broadway plays, he came up with a uh, he was also, for those of you who are as old as I am, he did Hatsville and he did HR Puffin stuff. Yeah, I mean, he had that when he said anything, and that just bought him time. He admitted that in an interview. It's like, yeah, I think Paul Lind had it too. He had a little moan or something right before he gave a joke, and it was because he just wanted to recall something or time to think. So it's not unheard of for people to have a little something that buys them half a second just to get their brain working. And I think that might be hers, just cackling like a I don't know, a hen. But it doesn't help her think, and it just makes her look absolutely ridiculous. Let's see, what else? Do you have anything else I want to cover? Oh yeah, a couple other things here. So it does look like Republicans will take the House. That would give them the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And the Democrats are horrified. And I don't know why. That's the way our government works. People wanted a change because the Democrats have been running just about the whole show for the last 4 years. Actually, more than that, because Trump wasn't allowed to do much the first term. He was running around trying not to be impeached. And the Democrats were running after him, trying to impeach him for jaywalking. So yeah, I mean, the people just got tired, and they just believed in Trump, or at least they believe they want to give it a chance and they want to change. So the Democrats moaning about the fact that they got Congress and presidency. That's the way our country was designed. No one cheated that one. And they're just basically going around saying the bad orange man's going to be able to do whatever he wants. And that's not wrong. And I think that's what we need right now. Let's see what he can do when he's not being hampered by impeachments. Uh, they want change, and they will get change. And one last thing I want to mention is I guess they've made their border czar pick, and that was Tom Homan. And he made a comment that he's going to put out the biggest, baddest migration operation the world has ever seen. And he said something along the lines of, if you're in this country illegally, you better watch your back. And I believe him. He's got a reputation of being a pit bull. And I think that's probably what we need. We got to get this country back. So anyway, I think that's it for now. I hope this was informative or at least entertaining. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, and share. If you have any comments or ideas, my information is on the bottom banner there. I welcome anything you got to say. And with that said, this is Reverend Bill Ryan signing off for the night. Thank you for listening.